Councilmember Stacy Green.
Present.
Councilmember Kim Green.
Here.
Councilmember Bob Hall.
Here.
Councilmember Ken Palfini has asked to be excused. Mayor Susan Tavalero.
Here. Do we,
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion, we excuse Councilman Palfini.
it's been moved and seconded to excuse Mayor, or Councilmember Palfini. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, canvass of ballots and council election of officers. Sandy.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, tonight I would like to introduce Resolution 27-2020, a resolution of the City Council declaring the results of the November 3rd, 2020 general election. By title only.
I'll second.
It has been moved and seconded to accept the adoption of Resolution 27-2020. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you. Administration of oath to the newly elected council members. That's me and Bob.
That is you and Bob.
Bob and I.
No,
No, she would say Bob and I.
no, it should be Bob. Did you say that's for me? Did you say that's I?
Okay, I'm going to have to go under the nose because I'm going to fall back.
Right here. Just like on the Price is Right.
Okay, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that you will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that you will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California, that you take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that you will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which you are about to enter?
Yes.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Okay, election of mayor and mayor pro tem by the council.
I nominate you, a current mayor for existing to continue another term.
I'll second it.
It has been moved and seconded to nominate Sue Tavalero for one more year as mayor. All in favor?
I have something I wanted to say on
Oh,
that.
you do?
I don't
About
have a-
that?
I don't have a problem with that this year, but I think one of how we got on for years, many years, it was every year somebody would change. And the fire came, and it seemed that we had just to keep the continuity through that, we kept that, and Ken kept it. But I'd like to, I think there's some value in moving it around. But as far as this year goes, I definitely support Mayor Talaferro.
Thank you, and I could be done with it by the end of this year. We'll see.
Okay.
I have to agree with you. I think 2 years is probably plenty.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, so it's been moved and seconded for myself to be the mayor. All in favor?
Aye.
And Mayor Pro Tem. I will nominate Stacy Green for Mayor Pro Tem.
I'll
for
second.
One more year. It's been moved and seconded for Stacy Green to be Mayor Pro Tem for the next year. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay.
Just a statement, I'd like to suggest also, not suggest, but agree. I think that when things happen, things have been so exponential. It's great to have another year of experience in because you get your feet going and you learn more. And I just see positively, and I know in fact I was here when the fire happened and just what you stepped in as your position, Mr. Bonall. I think it was great that you continue to start something and you got to keep going with it to see the end of it. I think that's good for experience for everyone to have that.
And it's really, to add on to that, there is a real value to have it throughout the council too, though.
Yes.
That experience, it really is. I mean, it's
Yeah.
solid.
Okay, moving on to non-agenda public comment. Now is the time for the public, if I can see you back there, to make any comments, and remember that the council cannot reply to any comments because it's not on the agenda.
Other than I keep my mask on while I talk?
Yes.
Okay.
And name and address.
Holly Hansard, Hansard, at 334 East Lake Street, regarding my property at 211 Pine Street in Angel Valley and Reed. And I would like the city council to give guidance on how I can be on the agenda for next month for this request that the city, with the attorney, consider giving me, however the legal papers could be done for that, legal access to the city alley that accesses my property from Pine Street between 151 Pine and 271 Pine. So I think there's more to that, but I think we could discuss that when I'm on the agenda. And if there's any reasonable costs, extra attorney that for drafting it, I'm willing to pay that, thank you. I guess you can't respond to me, right?
I can ask a question, though.
Oh, okay.
Can you explain? You can't, okay.
No, we
Okay.
can refer this to Tim.
Yeah. If you just want to submit something in writing to my office, I'm the city manager.
Hi.
Yeah, we could take a look at it and I can review it with the city attorney.
Okay, so that would be the way to do it. And so it's not like I need to be on the agenda for this?
Well, we'll take a look at what your request
Oh.
is and then move forward
Oh,
with that.
and then you would decide to be on the agenda or
Yes.
not? Okay, that's all I need to know. Thank you
Okay.
very much. All right, thank you. All right.
Thank you. Is there anybody else out there? No, Richard? Okay. Moving on, council member announcements, meeting reports, and comments. Bob, do you want to start?
Have a lot this month, other than just a reminder, I think everybody understands or knows now that the COVID is here. It's a little different, changing every day. We hear a little more people, people in my neighborhood, I hear more and more about their trips to bed. Several of them had to go back to the hospital 2 and 3 times. So it's pretty severe. But I would like to take this time just to remind people that sometimes, our information that we get is different than other people's information. And it's really easy to start looking at national. We're national now, this national political thing that's happening. But really what we have in our community is our community. And it's really dangerous for this to morph into a national separation in our community. We have the COVID right now and everything's slowed down, but I'm still optimistic for where we're going. And I think it's real important that we start practicing good citizenship and practicing respecting one another and understanding that, I could be I'm a liberal. And my conservative friends over here we're feeling this distance. When I compare our lives, I can't find 5 things that separates us, makes us any different than the other person.
Right.
This is an illusion that's coming from the information that we're getting, that is separating us. We've got to remember that we're from Weed. We're a little town of 3,000 people. We need to start with taking an inventory of our community, the jobs in our community, one another, understanding that when the chips are down, that's who we're depending on. We're going to come together here. It's time for us to be working together, practicing good citizenship. And I say this not to be on a soapbox, it's just to remind, even myself, I find myself falling into the thing, well, Jesus, how could you possibly think that? And I forget, these are my brothers and sisters in my community. These are the people that I need. We need, our potential is no stronger than the links between one another. That's our potential. And I really feel that we're in a place that when we should hit the road running here Hopefully, we have some monies coming from the feds. It's time that the feds understand that to keep everything moving, it's we must be at least as important as the corporations. I happen to think we're better, we're more important, but we need some help. And the help's coming, hopefully, and I think if we focus on being citizens, working together, staff, council, all of us, working together, we can do a lot of things. So let's not, let's just be careful and respect one another, please. And I'm talking about myself. I have to practice this what I preach. Not jumping to that conclusion. Stereotyping. We need one another right now. Right? Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. And there is still, Sandy, is Siskiyou Revitalization?
Economic development.
Siskiyou Economic Development still has money for businesses. Anybody out there that's listening, they still have money for businesses that people can still apply for.
In the form of grants.
In the
Yeah.
form of grants, which means they don't have to be paid back.
Excuse me, so where were we going to have, Tanya was going to come down and she talked about doing a workshop for those finance, those monies. We didn't.
There was a couple of different programs. This is the one that was started from a couple months ago.
Oh, okay, excuse me.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah, these are the $10,000 grants that are currently still available, but we're going to do the other ones on down the road.
Okay, excuse me.
And I'm pretty sure, Richard, did you not help out them by calling businesses here in town? And letting them know about that?
Say that again, please.
Did you contact businesses here in Weed about the Siskiyou Economic Development money that's available, the grant?
Yes, we did.
Yeah,
And,
okay. I
and
thought
two of them took advantage of it, and they were paid $10,000 each.
Okay.
So
And I think Tanya said 9 total in Weed got it.
Okay. And the point is there's still grants available if there's any other businesses that need it. Hopefully. Yeah. Okay, Kim, anything?
Okay, so just before I came here, both the city and the rec department Proposition 68 grant applications were submitted to the state. I talked to one of the representatives from Prop 68 last week or the week before, and they have extended the date for the competitive portion of the Prop 68 grant, and that's the one they have like 350 million. It is competitive though, and then you do have to have match. So the city is eligible, as the rec department is eligible, and so if there are projects that have to do with recreation or any of our parks, we can write those grants if we think that the project is worthy enough of it. And I know Sue and I talked about it because she wants a dog park. So
Yes, I do.
it's very possible that that one will also be submitted. At the community center, we have a giving tree, and this was always a tradition that was through DNR Hardware is when I first started doing it. And then when they retired, I think you guys took it at the bank, didn't you? And so now we have it at the community center, and we are taking names of any age. And we actually do have some adults, and I figure if they need a blanket or some socks, then they do. So it didn't have to just be the kids. So if you're interested in providing something for somebody in our community, you just come in and take a name off of the tree. We'll give you the gender and the age and 3 things that they either want or need. And then bring the wrapped gift back to us at the community center, and we will make arrangements for the delivery. We're going to have our senior drivers deliver while they're out and about delivering the food next week. Or I guess it'll be the 2 weeks. week and a half. And then, Craig, did Chris mention anything to you about a possible break in the water line at the Suns? We kind of briefly talked about it. Okay, I'll follow up on it. And that's it.
Thank you. Stacy?
Yes, ma'am. Just a lot of community events. I know we had some discussions with one of the businesses doing their Toys for Tots, and it was just an educational piece. The intent wasn't there, but many community members were, when you're talking about community, they were concerned about the effort that was given, honest faith, and I personally talked to the gentleman, and it's great to see that around our city that a lot of people are giving in this time that giving is a little challenged. And just I've been receiving, when you talked about the community response to COVID, I take some of that too, because I walk in, I'm like, why don't you have a mask on? I talk to some business owners and some workers, like, I don't have to have it. I said, well, it's probably best if you do, and I was judgmental. And then when we got our email for us, I was like, okay, it's slowly coming down and people are accepting it, but I do find myself being very judgmental when I walk into place, because I am one of those high-risk individuals. And I don't want to be having an integrity challenge when I go someplace to shop or eat or something. So, but that's a good point, because we got to not be judgmental, but still be passionate, but yet respectful. And that's a little challenging sometimes. We were talking earlier about some HR issues that we've all established, but I think the test is that we keep moving, and as the numbers, every time I see those post numbers get high, my blood pressure just jumps. And it's scary. It's really scary. Because I've known people that have, in my family, that have died. And it's just, I don't want to die. If I die, that's part of the plan, but I don't want to. But I want everyone else I'm around to have that freedom to express themselves and be comfortable. So it's a good point. It's challenging, and I go through it daily. When I go into a business and I'm talking to the person, they don't have it, they're like just communicating, and I'm seeing all that. Like, no, I'm at high risk. Don't give me that challenge that I have to worry about. I have to go home and be careful about. But it's real that we have to be real about our feelings and just be honest with them, be respectful. So I just try to practice that myself as an example. So I appreciate you saying that, Bob. That's all I have. A lot of personal.
Thank you. I have a few things. I want to give a huge thank you to Siskiyou Food Assistance. They gave out, I believe, 430 Thanksgiving meals on that Monday before Thanksgiving. My husband and I got to help with our with Ryan, Community Service Office, CSO. I wanted to call him the CEO. That would be wrong. With the parking, and we had a great time, and thank you for Siskiyou Food Assistance. If they were on Tuesday, Day of Giving, and they received quite a bit, which if you are looking for a place to give, that is a great place that's packed every Wednesday. And another thank you goes out to Weed PD and Martin and Diana and Mary and Roxanne and Justin, who have plans for the Christmas baskets. Can people still sign up for those? They are still signing up. So where would they come down here to PD?
Between hours, preferably and Mary can also do it, but her schedule varies. But Roxanne's typically set everything between 8 and 2 would be best.
So Monday through Friday at the police department from 8 to 2. And those will be given out on the 18th. Yeah. Yes, at the community center. I had a meeting last week with the transportation committee, and I wanted to remind people that the stage is still giving free rides. All rides on the stage are free. And then next week, the Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, the 15th, 16th, and 17th, Santa and Mrs. Claus and the fire department will be going around Weed.
Good.
The schedule is on the fire department page. It's on Weed Neighborhood Watch page. Some other people have shared it. Does it leave the fire station at 6? 5:30. It leaves the fire station at 5:30. And the neighborhoods are on that schedule.
And this year,
Yeah.
Santa, instead, Do the hamburger fun when we sold hamburgers and one day at the park?
So the kids will not be able to sit on Santa and Mrs. Claus's lap, but they will be able to come next to the trailer for pictures. And the fire department, through our hamburger fund, has bought gifts. There's little baggies for each of the kids, and then there should be candy canes. I'm going to assume there will be candy canes.
Candy canes in each bag.
Oh, and candy canes in the bags.
Yeah, they need to bring a letter.
Oh, that's right. And since you can't sit on Santa's lap, to bring a letter. There'll be a box to put a letter in for Santa.
It's all on the flyer.
Yes, Richard's got something to add to that.
Yeah, we received the candy canes today, so we just need a place to deliver them to.
It looks like the fire department wants them really bad.
Okay, we'll deliver them there. Can you pick them at the chamber? I'll be there tomorrow at 10.
Okay, so Santa's next week, and that is all I have to report.
I'd just like to add.
Miss Mayor?
Yes.
That's not a trailer, it's a sleigh.
Oh,
It's Santa's sleigh.
okay. It's kind of a sleigh. It has a little hut.
I just want to add, as a recipient of the Siskiyou Food Assistance and the Wheat Christmas baskets, the process just gets sweeter and sweeter every year. I was scared the first year because I said, I can't do this. When I came, it was a no impulse, nothing to feel uncomfortable about. Because I tell people about it, I can't go down there. Yes, you can. The people that are organizing events are very respectful, and you have a warm sense of empowerment when you come in. So I want to encourage anyone that may be thinking that you can't do that, you can. And it's nothing to be impulsive about. They're very kind, they're considerate, and the process is quick. You're in and out in minutes. And I know I saw you that day.
What's that parking committee?
Yes. And it's good to come in and not wait long when it's freezing cold.
All right, thank you. So moving on to the regular agenda. Council will consider request for proposal for city legal services. Tim?
Yeah, Madam Mayor and Council, tonight before you is a request for approval of the RFP for legal services for the city of Weed. It's been nearly 14 years, and we discussed this earlier, since we've sent out an RFP, and there was a suggestion and request to put one out, and that's what we've done.
And when is
If
that?
If approved, it would be for the next 30 days.
Okay. So we need a motion?
Yes.
I will make that motion. I'm sorry, I will make that motion.
I second it.
It's been moved and seconded to consider the request for, have staff put out the request for proposal for city legal services. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank
I
you.
have a question of just direction. Maybe the two manager could help. So you gave a day of 30 days.
Yes.
So what if you don't get any responses? Just what happens then?
Then I'll report back to the council, no responses, so.
Okay. So Hope City heard that, city members.
All right, item B, council will consider adoption of amended resolution number 14, 2020, adopting and setting a gross receipt tax and cultivation tax per square foot of canopy. Oh, gross receipt tax and cultivation tax per square foot of canopy. I
Yep.
confused myself on
Yep.
that.
That's okay. Before you tonight is a request for an amendment to the Resolution 14, 2020 that was passed back in June of this last year after a lot of debate on the price per square foot or the fee per square foot and the actual retail tax rate. There was discussion of going ahead and on January 1st, making it 1%, and then coming back every 6 months and increasing it gradually every 6 months until it reached 3%. And then after doing some analysis and meeting with staff, we kind of went over and discussed it. If we did that, we would have to have your approval 5 separate times. We would have to change our accounting system 5 times, 5 different rate forms that we would have to give to the 2 local retail establishments with 5 different rates. We just felt like it would be, and the point of sale machines within those stores would have to change their registers 5 times over 2 years. So there was some discussion at that time to keep the taxes low because of COVID and the decreased sales. However, since then, there's been several reports showing a pretty substantial increase in cannabis sales throughout the state of California and actually throughout the country. So with the current financial situation that the city is facing, we are requesting that the council reconsider and just go ahead and move forward with a 3% sales tax to go be put in place in January of 2021 and foregoing the 5-step increase over the next 2 years. So, and I'd like to reiterate this 3% sales tax was approved by the voters. In fact, it was approved the council has the authority to go up to 10%. But we feel like staff recommended at that time, we still feel strongly that 3% allows our retailers to be competitive with the other cannabis businesses in the area, such as in Mount Shasta, or if you went north to Ashland. And just as a reminder also, this 3% is passed to the consumer. It's not an actual tax on the business itself. It's, the consumers are the ones paying the tax. The retailers are the ones simply remitting it back to the city. And, I'm sorry.
Also, if not any questions, I'd like to make the motion.
I have a question.
Sure.
On this, Sandy, on this, it appears to be page 15, and there's a 1% that's highlighted and circled.
Yeah,
That's the old one.
that's the old one.
Okay, got it.
That was
All
the
right.
original one that you passed back in June.
Oh, okay, so, all right. Got it. Okay. Anybody else have any questions? All right, Stacy, go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion now. This is the
I don't-
amendment to
I
the
don't
resolution.
have a question, but I got a comment. I think that we have been as not patient, but I've been considerate with the permits that we have had out. And I know that, when it comes to taxes, this industry's been pretty well taken care of, picked over as much as they can. But we also have a responsibility to the people there were many people that I talked to that went along with this. Then they weren't in favor of it, but they said, well, it is revenue. And they have been asking, where is the tax money? You said that there was going to be tax money. And I think it's time that we make this move. It just needs to be done, so.
Thank you. All right.
So I move that the reading in full of the body of resolution number 14-2020 be waived, said amendment to the resolution being introduced and adopted by title only.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the resolution number.
The amendment to the resolution.
Amendment to the resolution number 14, 2020. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay.
Now I need to move it again for retitle, right? So I move adoption of the amendment to the resolution number 14-2020, changing the tax rate of general tax of gross receipts on any cannabis business to 3% be approved.
A second?
It's been moved and seconded to approve the adoption of the amended resolution 14, 2020. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
$100,000, yes. Mr. Rando? Yes. That'll help.
All right. TOT.
So we had a long discussion in our work session. Everyone sees the dollar amounts before them that have been requested. Also, I have the dollar amounts of all council members keyed in already. We know the dollar amount that's available is $69,140. So at this time, council, you may discuss and unfog. And let me know where you want to start and.
Well, I'll state on the first one, I see the amount requested for the event coverage, event setup, and that seems like a have to have based on whatever events that are approved. So when I see the amount requested and then different amounts that our council came through, I'm like, well, that means some events won't happen if we don't have the support.
Or
right?
coverage won't happen and they'll have to go find their own security and setup for those, correct?
So there's a real difference. Sue and I came at 20 and Kim at 15 and Bob and Ken came at around 8,000. So there's a very difference in the support process that we look at. So I just, yeah, and when you said that some of the events may not happen, yeah, that's a reality. So I just don't know how we look at 21,000 and we see the difference and how we kind of get an even spill there. Anyone has any other ideas or thoughts?
Well, when we start talking about, stopping, or somebody has to find other monies for it, I haven't been on the council for a long time, and we haven't been, many years it was $10,000 is what we gave, and I know times are hard, but I'm also I'm optimistic about where we're going. And I think there's some value in putting heads in beds. And, I'm willing to negotiate, for sure. I mean, that's what we're here for.
So I have a question. We discussed this earlier, but we only discussed it about the other agencies that are asking for TOT. What happened to the money we allocated for these events last year? Do we still have that in the kitty?
As far as what was given to the city, that was used up during the different parades and, yeah. So
We
that
had a
was all
parade
used
for
up
every
staff
graduation.
all during all of the parades and the trunk or treat and all of that.
Okay.
And just adding on that, when you look at the Wheat Chamber of Commerce, I appreciate the executive director here. You look at the events, I know he suggested some new events that are coming in, and they sound great. But when I look at the difference in that's why I picked 15,000, because I was like, can we do all those? Because I don't know with the budget, with COVID, what will happen with the amounts that we have coming in, because it's not guaranteed. But it's just eager to see kind of where we are. And that's where my numbers came in from, just from looking at it from a budget perspective, when I had to do $1 million for stores. Just seeing what's actually planned, what can we do, and what do we have. So I'm really eager to see, because everyone voted 29 on that one, and I did 1550.
So on City of Weed event coverage, if you take the 20 from Tavalero and Green, 15 from Green, 8 and 8 from Hall and Palfini, and add it all together and divide it by 5, which that's the one math problem I can do, is about 14,348 is the average on that.
I think when I asked that question about what Bob was saying, if we don't have the events, can they still occur? If they have to go out and get their own funds for it and they don't have it?
Yeah.
Make a comment and that's true. The general fund has been absorbing the additional costs as kind of okay, we'll absorb it. We're finding that we're not able to do that going forward.
Right.
And that's kind of the situation we're in. We're already in a furlough. I'm just making the point that in the past, general fund has been absorbing these additional costs. And so we're trying to give you as realistic of a picture of what it actually costs the city in total to cover these events.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So we just do, as our mayor suggested, do an average for the city of Weed, the 14,000 then? And then that will be what the number is, and then, because we can't go any higher.
I would recommend that we at least
Yeah, go to 15. I think if we're going to be round up to 15,000,
Go up
right
to
on
15?
Mr. Green's Number?
That's my number.
Oh, Miss Green.
I have the E, he doesn't.
Oh,
He's the greenie. Since I'm the highest one, I can come down to that. That sounds best. Mayor, what do you think?
So, yeah, down, rounded at 15,000?
Yes.
Okay.
I gotta take 7 out of that.
Bob, get ready to write your check of
And then I
$7,000.
get the totals gone, though, is the problem.
Oh.
Yeah.
Write your
Then I
check.
lose
Well, I know, but there's no total, right? That's
Yeah.
just what you're gonna put in there, Sandy?
There, yeah, I gotta scoot it back.
Oh, I see what
Yeah.
you've done. Okay.
Just round.
I'll just squeeze the projects.
Bob Hall's got some room on his name is short.
He's writing a check for $7,000.
Oh, no, I lost his
Oh,
figures.
you're gonna lose something there.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay,
That. There we go.
so we decided at 15,000 for that?
Right.
Okay. I was reminded that the city gets 80% of the TOT money also. But still, we're being fair on that one. Annual Halloween carnival, adding them up and dividing them by 5, it comes to 370.
I get up to 400. I'm just.
Yeah, I mean,
As long as it's sugar-free candy.
yeah, that's gonna happen.
Sugar-free.
Eat sugar-free.
I do actually.
Well, and the Resource Center was kind enough this year to get that, since they weren't having their event, and use it for the chamber, so that worked out well. I mean, it got spent and it went someplace.
And it was a good event.
It was a great event, and people were very happy. So should we leave that at 4?
Yes.
370 was the average, so if we
I'll
round
consent-
up,
I'll consent to go up to 4.
all right. Got it, Sandy?
Yep.
Cemeteries continued maintenance.
Now, I'm the highest, and my comment would be, when I look at their inquiry and look at maintenance, and then drive by and see what's happening, that's the most, let me see, the most visual adaptation we have of our cemeteries is how it looks. And I tell you, it just looks, when it's kept, I don't know how we can do it, because we don't have any other people that are coming in other than Mr. Mazet and other folks. I just don't know how we can get that. Tim and Bob and I have talked about that, about getting youth to kind of come up and do that, but they don't want to do that. I don't know how we're going to do that. So when I see their requests and their detail on their applications is about just maintenance, equipment, and keeping the cemetery, I don't know how we can address that. And we have this discussion every year.
Yeah, but it's time to have it again. My take on it is we've been trying for a long time to find some funding for the cemetery. And I want to, right now, just, apologize for not putting more time into this, the vote. I really thought that it was a no-brainer. I thought that people understood what a sales tax is, what it actually is, and as far as the investment from the city or the community, it's 4-1. But I want to, we have to find some funding. We have to help the cemetery out here. We really are, we've been dependent on some goodwill for quite a while. I mean, some people stepped up and have taken this over the years, and we have to find some funding for them, help assist them. Do we have any more ideas on what we had talked about a district, cemetery district? I don't know if we can do that because of, our districts are, rec districts different than the city district. What can we do to establish something, an annual fund for these people rather than them having to depend on us?
Well, as you stated, I mean, there could be I believe a special district that could be formed, and they could go out for a parcel tax of some sort, of however they decide to form that up. However, that's typically, there are not too many cemeteries that do that. A lot of it has to do with the fact, like you just said earlier, some possible fundraisings, also looking, I don't know what the current situation is with the plots out there, how many are still for sale or not very many, or
The report shows they're not, it's not active. It's just.
not enough people being buried out there.
Not.
That's the other thing that runs into, I worked the former city before this one. We had a cemetery. We had 2 cemeteries. And that's the tough thing because cremations are starting to go up considerably. And they're becoming very popular. And that's cutting into the sales for the cemeteries as far as being able to sell the lots out there. And but I couldn't tell you right off the top of my head what a good solution would be, an easier solution. Maybe if the association had some sort of big annual fundraisers. I know there's certain fundraisers that you can do that you can raise some substantial funds. But again, I'm not real familiar with how the association is ran.
I think one of the one issue is that I don't think the public really understands how the cemetery works.
Yeah.
I mean, even understanding it, until somebody passes away, you don't even do any business with the cemetery. But I had made this at the candidates night. I made this, I'd put the stat out. But I understand in Mount Shasta, I mean, a weed apply to cost you $1,000. In Mount Shasta, it costs you $3,200. Now that's a substantial savings for, especially when we have a lot of people. Actually, we have a lot of people that $1,000 is a hell of a lot of money for. And it really is something when it comes down to it. But I want the public to understand how this is working. I mean, we take it for granted. It's over there and it's always been there. Well, it hasn't always been there.
It hasn't always looked like that.
No, not at all. I mean, when I came back in 1970, came back from the Army, I mean, people were carrying water out there, buckets of water, taking care of their own plot. And what we have going, as Stacy said, it's something to be proud of now. But the real thing is to be proud of that we can afford it for $1,000. That's something that our community can afford. You know, if you got to, we're talking about a plot, piece of ground. Mm-hmm. $1,000 versus $3,200. So I just want to make sure that people understand that. That's really a a value to the community that you've got to look a little deeper and you understand that this is an important time when somebody does pass, coming up with the money that it takes to bury somebody.
I think it's important also to look at the Lincoln Heights Cemetery, the enhancements that were made from public pockets. Nothing was asked from the city. And the view, and I encourage you to go there on holidays, that all the flags are put out, were purchased, they're new, the poles were in the ground, the signs were replenished and revised. It has a great look, and when people come up in my neighborhood from relatives that came, like, wow, this looks nice now. I said, well, it was nice before? I said, yeah, it is. But they like it now, it has a presence, and I encourage people to go by and see. And I'm happy that the community got together and just put their own efforts in it, and just, it enhanced it.
And that was a volunteer. The few guys volunteered for that, which was great. So when we take these 5 of the 12, 8, 8, 8, 8, and 10, add them together, divide it by 5, it's 9,200. Did you already do that math?
Again, I'm the high one. I can concede to come down. Would the other ones go up?
Mine would go down too. Anybody opposed to 9,200?
My question is always, and I ask it every year, is that can they do it?
Okay, throw it in for now and see what happens at the end. Mm-hmm. Okay, the museum.
Before we go on, I would like to say that the vote was so close that 7 votes from them to us made the difference.
On the measure?
Yes.
And I really believe that if we did some better education, that we would be successful, and so I really think we should try again.
And I think you're right, Kim, and I think with emphasis on the cemetery itself, I mean, it kind of got convoluted. You know, we have the fire department and the rec department was involved in it, but really, that's all it was initiated because we needed, trying to find some funding for the cemetery, you know, that in the public, for the public to understand what a gem we have here, what it really is an asset to our community.
And you're right. I was surprised at the numbers. I thought it would pass, and I was looking at it and talking to people who said, well, we're not going to fund for the city of police and the rec center. They need to budget correctly. I said, that's not the case. It started with, I think the communication and education was the piece, because my thing was from the cemetery because of my action with it. And I think that might be, but I thought it was well publicized. I don't see not. I'm not sure how we could do it better. Flyers, I mean, there's always different ways to do things, but I don't know if that was the case.
Well-
But it was close, and that means something. That doesn't mean, that's a statement in itself.
And one of the things that I look at when you look at their request, and they're asking 16,000, and part of it is for the guys that work there. One. Do they only pay one? Do they pay two?
3.
They pay all three? But only a few months out of the year.
Right.
But,
Guys work all year round.
Right.
right, but they had weed eaters and lawnmowers and new valves on the sprinkler system and that kind of things, which is the same thing that the Parks and Recreation does. Yeah, and needs. So to marry those two together with what they need made sense, which is where the Parks and Rec and the cemetery came into that.
Right.
That's where that came in.
I meant nothing wrong with it, I just
Right.
meant that
Yeah,
for
and I
people-
agree with Kim, I think we
People
need to
didn't
try
understand
again.
what was happening.
And not to get so far off, but
We are
and
getting
I
off
started
the
it.
subject.
But when I did my presentations, I heard the feedback was, I wish I would have understood this last week, which meant, and then I heard the flyer told me nothing, and now I get it. Well, those few votes could have made the difference.
Certainly.
Okay.
So we're at the museum now,
Okay,
right?
so we're at the museum. Guide wages, and I just added up this maintenance of city facility. They asked for 29 for that, and I gave them 29 for that because I figured they already did it. Craig,
With the museum?
the maintenance of the facility, because the city, Craig. Oh, well, no, you don't have to look. The city owns that building. Now, is what they did is they painted? Would it have been something had they came to the city and asked that our city employees could have done it versus hiring somebody and it wouldn't have been so expensive?
Yes, possibly, but then our city employees wouldn't be doing something else. If
Right.
they're so short-staffed that it's kind of.
So we possibly would have said, just put it out.
Yeah,
Okay.
later.
Is that the big building?
Is that what it's for? It's for the paint?
It was for painting.
Oh, no, no, I thought they were talking about the storage container across the railroad tracks by Old Town, by the 97 Mart. I thought they were talking about that one.
Yeah, we're talking about the museum.
In the past, we haven't, we've just given one sum. I thought we gave them like $7,000 or $8,000. Is that correct?
Yes, but see, they've got these two on here. They have the guide wages and
Yeah.
then they have the
Well,
maintenance.
this is a new one. We're going to have to cut someplace.
Right. So the maintenance of the facilities,
Let's leave that off. I suggest we leave that off until the end.
Well, and I think in the past, we said, okay, they want 16 and 3, so 19. We don't care how they break it up.
What did we give them last year? We give them that much? That wasn't,
No, I don't know.
Sandy's got that.
She has what they requested, but not what we gave them.
Last year,
Shoots do.
Last year, you guys awarded $9,000. They had 2 requests last year, you just combined the total.
I'll have to concede again because the average is not there. I like to write big checks, but I don't have the funding. But mine was at 11, and so you got the average there was like what, about
9,600.
96.
Yeah.
I'm okay with
Sandy,
that.
what was our total that we gave out last year?
80 something.
83?
It was like 80 something. It was on that other spreadsheet. I don't have it in front of me.
83.
What'd you figure out that the average was?
9668 or 9,700 if you wanted to round up.
No, on that
Bob,
side.
would you come up to that total to meet that?
Sure, but we're not gonna we've got a lot to, we can start with that, but
Well,
we're coming down to the end. We're gonna take it all from the chamber, I guess, huh?
no, because, I don't know. Okay.
Okay, let's go.
97?
Right, yes,
I think we do that.
go for it.
Okay. And you combined the two.
Do you want those two combined? Okay.
No, is that what you did?
No, I just did.
You didn't. So the average on their maintenance was 2,000.
Okay. Okay. Now it's on there.
So they're combined.
So at the chamber, I know when the next one, I'm just at a loss when I see the dollar amounts. As I said before, my figures don't add up to all that, and everyone else seems to have it. So I guess I'm the one in the outs.
I don't follow you. What are you saying, Stace?
My number is 15
For the,
chamber, and everyone else has 29. So I'm just not seeing the vision. So it doesn't. I mean, majority can rule.
Who's got 15 as well?
I had 15. And how did I?
It's just a big difference, and I know we talk about the events, and I'm glad our finance director just gives the numbers short. I was surprised when I saw the totals. I was like, why am I so off not seeing that? And I know what your vision was too on that.
Did we have those last year's on that one, Sandy?
What they were, the visitor center last year, there was $37,000 awarded for operation. Marketing and advertising were $5,000, and then the Collier pass-through, which was not requested this year, is $500.
But he also has 3 or 4 new events too.
Yeah, well, one's proposed for 2022, but they're requesting $2,500 next year for it.
Which one's that one?
The planning mill days,
I want the balloons here. They always go to Montague. I want balloons here.
that would be fun. There is $34,300 still left available. Which,
How much?
no, that's for the total.
Total, oh.
Yeah, your total is still $34,300.
Oh, wow.
So what did you find the average when you did the 15, 29, 29, 29, 15?
Oh, I have not done that. I was looking.
I
at
didn't do it either.
reports.
Because you beat me to it the last time, so I quit.
That was like 25.
So last year, we gave them 42. Marketing and advertising and 37 for operations. And then this is broke down.
I have a question for Richard. So, did you ask for less because you knew we had less, or because you still have some of last year's that you didn't spend on this stuff?
We still had some that we didn't spend last year, so we were going to use that for this coming year.
Okay.
And I have a question too. Usually the executive director salary is in there. That's not in this year. How is that being managed?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Executive salary, executive director salary? That's usually,
The director's salary is the 12.5 at the end for the operation, because we still have money in there for operation for this year.
that says marketing and advertising.
No, those are the 2 requests.
It says 12,500.
With the 34,300 still remaining, if you did 24,300 for the chamber and then 10,000 for the marketing, it's still, I'm just throwing it out there. That just give me some numbers as what's left over.
I wasn't paying attention to Tim, I'm sorry. What did you say?
Currently, we have 34,300 left.
Yes?
Sandy and I were just briefly discussing, if you went 24,300 with the chamber and the visitor center, and then 10,000 for the marketing and advertising, that's the balance you have left.
That would use up the rest of the funds, because the average for the event breakdown,
Yeah.
the average for that is 23,500.
Yeah, so you're,
So you're right at the average.
And
Okay.
Richard mentioned about the executive salary, executive director salary. Where's that in this feature?
Well, it's part of the operations.
I don't see operations. I see marketing and advertising. Is that where you're saying operations?
Well, I have it should be 12,500 for visitor center in order to maintain visitor center and keeping the visitor center open, public, this funding would be required. So
Oh,
that's
is it
part of
on-
my salary.
Is it on the paperwork?
The paperwork said marketing and
Oh.
advertising.
Okay,
Yeah.
so then when you, Sandy, you averaged out that marketing and advertising?
I averaged out the first one at 23.5, the marketing and advertising. Let me do that real fast.
Okay.
You know, back when I worked,
Hit the right buttons.
when I had a
My phone's
calculator.
getting ready to die on top of it.
I came up with 70,000 on the last one, so I didn't do it right.
That's
So-
probably not right.
So we have 34,860, correct, that we're working with for the theft?
So the average for the marketing and advertising is $9,448.
That can work.
So that would be 95.
And like them, they get it. And if they decide to move it to something else, then they just let us know, right?
Well, this is what it's awarded for. All of the events are broken down, and if you guys decide that that's how you want it distributed, you're able to do that tonight, like Emily spoke of earlier today.
So
Or we
those-
just tell them the lump sum, and then if you.
Let
if you
them break it
just-
down.
Yeah, let them break it down.
So those two averages came out to 33, and that's what we had left?
at 34,300.
Oh, so we're at 68.
34,300 is what we've used so far, correct?
No, it's what we have left.
So now we're at 68.3, and then
I
we have
got, that's what we have,
69,140.
that we've used. We have 34,860
Well,
left.
it probably is, because if you add the two together, that's where you probably get your 68,000.
Yeah, I had 34,860 is what we have left.
Okay.
Well, Sandy's got it on, oh,
Yeah. I put 24,000 for, because they're just rounded up the 23, and then 10,000 for the chamber, and we got it at, I think we're there.
Where's that total at, that running total? Is that at the bottom, that 68,300?
yeah, so we're off, there's $840 left.
Yeah.
I think that's good. My mom said always have a cushion under what you
Mm-hmm.
need. So you have extra expense in case something comes up. Mr. Richard?
Now you got what? 160?
No. 840. Where are you seeing,
Oh, I was reading it backwards.
okay.
It's quicker every year.
So do we need to do something with that 840?
Yeah, it's part of the,
It's part of the.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
so if you wanted, I was just looking up there, you can, the maintenance of the city facility, I mean, their bids were, I think, 2,700 and 2,900, and I'm
It was
just,
2,900.
Yeah.
So
So you could toss the other 840 in there.
into that one, into the museum.
yeah, and it would,
I don't have a problem with that.
I was going to suggest 500 there and then the other 400 to the cemetery, just to help. The thing about the maintenance of the equipment, that's all. Give a little quarter there.
So 500
Just
to
throwing it out.
the maintenance of the city facility, and the other
340,
340 up to cemetery?
60, yeah.
I'm good with that.
I think it's 3.
25.
Huh?
2,500. Oh, right on the nose.
Look at that number.
Wow.
Okay? Now, Sandy, Tim, do we need to have a discussion right now about, and Emily, about giving this money to the chamber? Does this conversation need to happen now? When we talked about that we wanted to give it per event versus a one lump sum?
Yeah.
Okay, so Tim, start that conversation.
Well, Richard, prior to your arrival, when we had the work session, there was discussion about possibly requesting that the chamber, instead of it just being all lumped in together, that the request be done per event. For example, with the Carnivale request, to be able to do that, receipts after, or if you have invoices for, if you needed the funding before the event, to bring those invoices in. But it would create a little bit more work for us, a little bit more work for you, but I think as far as the transparency, I think it'd be an excellent way of doing that, so.
Yeah, I don't think we have a problem with that, Tim. I think that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Do you need a motion to accept these figures?
yes.
Okay, I will make that motion.
I'll second.
Do we need to wait for Stacy to come back?
We gave
There's a quorum still.
Okay, good. All right, it has been moved and seconded to accept the funding allocations for 2021 TOT money. It's a resolution. Do we have to do anything special? Oh, okay, okay.
You just made the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. Okay. That was easier than I actually thought it was going to be.
Thank you, Sandy.
You're welcome.
Why?
When I sat in the audience and was requesting, it seemed like it would go on forever.
Yeah.
I have to say, since I've been on the council, we've done it in record time.
Good.
It's a lot easier not looking somebody in the eye, though.
No, I think it has to do with the fact that we all understand what it is.
It's a rough year, yeah.
Okay. Moving on to consent.
Thank you.
Would anybody like to make a motion on the consent agenda?
I move that it be
Mr.
approved.
Okay.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Nothing was removed. Staff reports. Let's see. John, would you like to go first?
Sure. I apologize for my late arrival. I just thought it'd be beneficial for everybody to know about the progress on 219 Main Street balcony.
I think everybody wants to know.
And the owners have hired a local contractor from Mount Shasta. He's very capable. Sorry.
Oh,
We can't hear you.
I can hear you.
Right here, close to the camera, John.
They've hired a local contractor who's very capable. He's made good progress already. He has pulled the appropriate permits. He anticipated being done in 2.5 to 3 weeks. I think we've got some weather coming up here in the next several days, and that might slow him up. Craig has given him an encroachment permit until December 30th, but also Craig mentioned that he could expand on that if necessary. So I think fairly soon we'll have a balcony that will not fall down on Main Street.
nice.
And I think that's a good thing. So I just thought somebody should know.
The question we kind of asked earlier, are they going to continue to work on the rest of the building or just, we're fixing the balcony and calling it good?
Well, the contractor has mentioned that They have told him they anticipate working on the rest of the building to make it a usable, viable building. I think we all might want to, take that with a grain of salt.
Right.
Because the ownership really, in effect, in my mind, hasn't changed, even though technically it has. So, but, I'll take a balcony that's not going to fall down, because the contractor told me when they were removing it, he couldn't believe that it was as bad as it was. It's basically was hanging there by a thread. So, this is a good thing.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
John, how about as far as the Blackview and people inhabiting that building, are we still in pretty good shape there? Or?
Well, Justin had a report that somebody was in there recently, but we don't know if there's anybody living in there. Is that correct?
They're not living in there, but there's people that are accessing the building because it's not 100% secure.
Okay.
We have addressed it with the property owners. They told us they wanted us to secure it, and I told them no. There's too much liability there. They can secure it themselves. I don't know what steps they took, but they were notified.
This time of year, I was just thinking that the people are nesting, or looking for a nest.
Now, is that for the owners, is that the same owners?
Correct.
Yeah.
My concern, John, was that we're beautifying a building that we weren't sure was even going to be able to stay there.
Well,
So,
that's a great concern. The contractor has told me his plans. What I was really concerned about was the brick facade of that building actually breaking away and falling down. Well, he's developed a plan, and he actually has 2 carpenters that work for him, and one of them is very familiar with unreinforced brick buildings. So they have a plan to stabilize the entire front of that building. Beyond that, it's up to the owner to pay the contractor to fix the rest of the building. But like I said, the balcony was a danger. And so hopefully here in a matter of a few weeks, that's taken care of.
Cool. Okay. Justin, you want to be next since you were involved in this one? Just carry on. No? Okay, thank you. Emily, do you have anything?
I don't have to be on camera. We just finished our street audit report. I signed that today. Turned that in. We are going to be closed during between Christmas and New Year's. I just want to let people ease their fears. Yes, our payments are due on the 25th, but all payments received when I get back on the 4th will be counted as received before the 25th. So they will not receive late fees, etc., unless you come on the 4th. Then, yeah. Yeah. So I just don't want people to panic about that, because I know that's kind of wonky for us not to be here. And even though we normally do that anyway, if the 25th lands on a Saturday, we count it as accepted prior to the 25th on Monday. If that makes sense.
Uh-huh.
And besides that, we're just
Okay, good.
plugging away.
Thank you. Steve? Oh, you have a lot to say, don't you? I thought you did.
Is with the name on it. I like
Well, his daughter makes them.
So I sent in a annual report. You should all have it. Sandy sent it to you. And let's go over some highlights. I don't want to go over the 18 pages with you, and this will be updated because it's only till 12/5. We usually do about 710 calls a year. Emergency responses. So on this one it's 616, but that'll go up. But we did raise revenue from responses, grants, and fuel projects, $95,913 this year. Now, all that money is not sitting in an account, so we can have it. A lot of it has been spent, especially for the grants. 100% of that is spent back out. So just telling you what we brought in. And you have the report, so if you go down the report, it tells you we've had some fires, 54 of them to be exact. We had some structure fires this year, some significant ones in town. The first wildland fire, this is how we came up with the 95,000, was to the Happy Campfire, our revenue was 11,700, and again, salaries have been paid out of that, and fuel, so, you know, but we did bring it in. $14,522 from 26 other wildland fires that we responded to in the local area. Confined space rescue, this was at the mill. They paid us $23,250 for their outage. We're gonna do that again, I believe it's in May this year. So we have signed a 3-year contract with them to provide that service whenever there's an outage. Sometimes they have it once a year, sometimes twice. So depending on when that is. EF recovery claims, what that is when we go on a traffic accident or a hazmat spill, somebody that does not live in Weed is involved in that accident, we can charge the insurance company for that. So let's say a hazmat from a trucker, they spill fuel, it pays for all of our equipment that we've used on the scene, for the guys and for our trucks. So we brought in $9,306 so far 2020. And again, the salary, we do pay the firefighters, that pays for Brian and I to be on the scene. So that helps reimburse the city for our time there. So we did 1,022 hours of training. And fuel reduction, we did a significant ones. Recently, we just did one behind Bulls Creek Apartment. We had the CAL FIRE Siskiyou unit, which is not the Deadwood crew, but it's the firefighter crew that came up for the last 3 days. And they got rid of all the brush behind there. And they didn't charge us anything for it, so they're not allowed to.
Question. I have two, but just where you're at. Are you dealing with the new construction out on South Vista? Behind Grocery Outlet?
We are advising only. We go twice a day out there, once in the morning, make sure it's a burn day, look at their piles, and then at the end of the day, we go back out and make sure they're out. So tomorrow, I advise them to not burn because I think it's going to be windy, so we'll see in the morning. But they wanted to do what's called windrows, where they just put it in rows and burn them, but we told them no. You can only do 15 by 15 piles, pulled away from Grocery Outlet. Once you get back away from there, then you can do windrows, and that way we have a buffer. But that field project is looking awesome.
I know you guys have presence, people have concerns about it. I drove out there myself just to ride to see, and just see the complexity of it and how vast it was just extraordinary to see.
Scott went out there today, so it looks good.
Know that.
Scott went out there
People
today.
that drive up there when we're there, and they're like, yeah, we're happy you guys are doing this, but we're not actually doing it. It's not us doing it, so. And we tell them, you know, and Brian, he did talk to the newspaper, they called. So I think they have a thing in the newspaper about it. Sure.
Good intent call. I just like when people know what you're doing, not just falsifying and not just being, vindictive to, because you do good work. So what is that good intent call? There was 48 and then 7.79%. What does that entail?
That could be anything from helping residents back into their house, something like that. It's a good intent call.
I see you have one person that was having a problem across the street. That will go into that category?
Not necessarily, no. These are only dispatch calls.
Okay.
So the only if they call dispatch.
48, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you for what you guys do.
Sure. And then,
Does that one come over public assist? Is that what you're counting, public assist? Is that those? Is that what they tone them out as?
yes,
That you're counting, okay.
yeah. Yeah, public assist. Okay, so what am I going to say?
Fuel reduction. I saw that you sent out 75 letters and 96% were compliance. That's nice.
And so this year was a very strange year because I had actual people calling me and giving me lots that needed to be, had fuel reduction letters sent to them. So most of the time we just drive by and we drive by every lot and we send a letter out, but people were calling this year. So that's good.
I can answer that from being here 8 years and being back 10 years, because they see that you're trying to help them. I know certain residents, they say, we don't know what to do, but then when they respond, they see the help from the city. That means a lot. When you talk about Bob, you talk about people helping each other out. When they see that city organizations work with the people, they're not just to do things against you, they work with you. That says a lot, and I've seen a change. I know in my community, people have just stressed that, because they thought it was like, no, we don't want them to come out there and just burn us. Not burn us, you know what I mean, you know.
Sure.
I think it's great to see that.
And I think with all the fires around, people really understand what it's about. So we're gonna start early this next year and hopefully everybody be done by July 1st. That's the goal. And then, fuel reduction projects, we brought in about $4,000, and this is work that we've done that homeowners will hire us to, and we mitigate their fuel. So grants, we have $37,250 that we brought in. And then I have CSA 3 funds on here. This is one thing, this is not an amount of money that the city would ever see come into the fund. So Emily wouldn't have this information. Because all it is when I go to the CSA 3 meetings, I ask for equipment and they buy this equipment for us. So this is how much this equipment's worth. So we got $7,634 worth of equipment this last year from the CSA 3. And that's EMS equipment. So that's my report. Any questions?
Thank you for the grant. Your first meeting here, you came with the grant. I never forget that.
Yep.
That's
You're welcome.
Thank you for that.
We like that.
Almost 20,000. That's good.
Craig, do you have anything?
The streets and road report that's been completed for the city of Weed, Sandy put it on our website, so if anybody wants to see it, we'll probably be talking about it in our budget sessions coming up.
Okay, in January.
Yeah. I think.
Okay. Sandy,
Nothing to report.
thanks. Tim, do you want to be first next month?
No, I don't mind being
Okay.
last.
All right. I thought your feelings were hurt.
No. Just real quickly, we've received quite a few phone calls recently regarding parking in downtown. We just want to encourage business owners and their employees of the businesses to not park on Main Street. We like to say that that's for, your customers, not for your employees to be parking out there. And we wanted all to succeed, and in order for it to succeed, and we're hoping to get, with the help of the chamber and the Siskiyou Economic Development and staff, to revitalize downtown. In order for it to be successful for the businesses, there needs to be ample parking for them. And we have two public parking lots, one across the street from the Sons of Italy, one behind Papa's there. There's two different parking lots there that they can park in. So that would be ideal for the owners and their employees to park at during the business hours. Real quickly, I was on a conference call recently with a company called Servitas. They're the ones that are going to be building the new housing at the College of the Siskiyous. They're looking at a 3-story, 124-unit, 410-bed facility for our students. And I think that's going to help us with some of our rental issues here in town as well, because when the college kids come in, a lot of them have to, because there's not enough housing on the campus right now, they end up having to rent houses close to the college, and that ties up a lot of the inventory, and it'd be great if we could have that for families and folks moving in here. We will have a workshop, the city will, in January the 12th of next year to discuss budgeting, capital, and operational issues with the city. Also, just real quickly, talking about the election that we just had, I'd like to personally thank, I was on the phone with her multiple times. Just anytime you're a city manager, you get to know the county election officials really well, because you're going to have city council elections, you're going to have, sales tax, bonds, measures, propositions, all these things out there, and just trying to get educated to how it runs here in Siskiyou. And I will tell you that Laura Bynum did a great job. She was very, very prompt in answering any of my emails or phone calls, and I'm not dogging the Placer County election folks, but I went through a couple there, and getting the updates was a bit of a struggle with Laura. She was providing them every single day, and I know that, and it's just a personal note, that not everybody's candidate won, and not everybody's measure or proposition came out the way they wanted. So that tells me we got a really good system there. So I'd like to say thank Laura and her crew. They did an excellent job this year.
I have a question, a couple. With the parking, there's a 2-hour permit. How is that being addressed? Or will it, I know there's some concern about, will our police give that, some vehicle, some necessity, or do they have the structure or the team to?
Currently, it is the 2-hour limit from, or what is the,
Oh, you got to say something now, Justin.
not, Justin was thinking he was done for the
Al
night.
Scott-free, he's not.
It's a-
So if you remember in 2015, this conversation came up with businesses downtown, and we were instructed by council at that time to not enforce the 2-hour parking. So that's why there hasn't been 2-hour parking tickets handed out in the last 5 years. We only enforce the overnight parking, which is a requirement for snow removal and street sweepers, which we do still enforce.
And like this, and like any other code enforcement issues, they're only as good as the will of the council. So if we get,
Is that parking lot in between Tri-County's Bank and the tattoo
It's
store?
actually a street. That's
Oh,
East Division.
so a parking lot?
One-way street with parking on both sides, which is typically at best half full during the day.
Very tight. It seems to
And I wouldn't park in that first spot when you come around the corner. And for a while, it seemed like whoever was parking there wasn't pulling in all the way, and then
Tight spot, especially depending on the car. A longer car will obviously stick out in the street further. But East Inez is the same way. If somebody parks parallel there across from where Papa's is, it's also very tight turn. It can cause problems.
Can we get signs that we can put up that say public parking with an arrow? or-
that's been discussed. Myself and Craig have talked about that, getting the giant blue P signs that have the arrows showing
Yeah.
that there's public parking down the street. And also, probably within the next week or so, myself and maybe somebody else from staff going door to door to the business owners and just saying, hey, maybe, be a good thing for maybe the chamber director to go with me and say, for us to be successful, we really, really encourage you to have your employees. This happens almost everywhere I've been where there's an older shopping district that was not designed like, the Walmart parking lots of the world. But I think if you educate the business owners and say, this is something that's really important for us to be able to thrive. Now, some of them are going to say, well, but there won't be any cars in the street. Well, would you rather have parking available, or would you rather see people drive and not see any parking and leave? So it's an education thing, too, that we need to do as well. So,
And Tim, I think it's worthwhile mentioning too that times have changed. There's a lot more cars downtown now than there were 3 years ago.
They are all mainly employees.
yeah.
I did talk to one of the business owners the other day, and 5 of the 12 cars that were parked on.
Is that right?
were employees.
Yeah.
That was just at one business.
Okay.
I think we can do a better job in educating them and trying to get it, because some of them might be new businesses that are not aware that there's some public parking a block away. And I think, I'd be safe to say that most of those employees can walk 1 block or a half a block to get to work. So
I was going inside, I was agreeing. I think that, but people don't realize that there are more cars. A couple of years ago, 3 years ago, we could do, that was okay to do it. It's not now. Things are changing. There are a lot more cars on Main Street. Sometimes you drive down to there and it's amazing, where the hell are all these people? I mean, there's not a parking place on the streets.
I think it's remember too, I know we talked about it a few years ago. With our parking lot content and our structure, I know I was surprised when I went on Sons of Italy. I drove in front, I said, where are these potholes here? And they're right in the entrance of the parking lot, and just so that's part of our street strategy. But I'm like, wow, that still has to be fixed, because people don't want to park or they're going to get a flat tire. And I said, I'm not going to pull in that parking lot. And some of the parking in Sons of Italy crossing there. I know I've looked, and it's scary to park in there.
That parking lot is not the Sons of Italy's. It is
Well,
the city.
I mentioned across from Sons of Italy.
Yes,
Yeah.
but if we're gonna start promoting people to park there, then we're gonna have to clean it. Because the Sons have been paying over the last summers to have it weed eated, and for art, we didn't do it this year because we didn't have any events so that's a Craig thing.
Add it to
Well,
your
that
list.
could be a good project for a group
Yeah.
to
And
go down there and help with it, because I had to drive over weeds when I went there for the blood drive,
Great Kyle Matheson project.
And I think we can do a better job of providing some wayfinding signs that, to direct people to those.
We had some. I noticed one at Chevron.
And there is a small little brown one there that says parking. But other than that, it's a big blue one like that, that's gonna catch your eye to show you where it's at.
Yep.
It's more of a historical sign.
This is where you tie up your horses. So,
I see discussion about even letting people park there with their RVs, and then we were like, no, that's not gonna work. And I don't know if that was why we didn't put up the big signs. I can't remember, but it's not the first time we've discussed this.
Hey, Justin, can people park in those parking lots overnight?
We also enforce, we do enforce no overnight parking in the parking lots. For residents that live in most people are unaware of how many people actually live on Main Street. There's quite a few. So parking is a premium, even overnight parking. We do issue to the police department overnight parking permits for the city parking.
Oh, that's right. I remember
Live
that.
above the buildings.
Yeah.
A couple years ago, we made that amendment.
We have our municipal code does not allow for anybody to stay in an RV, outside of an RV park within the city.
Okay. All right. No more staff reports?
Bob?
No closed session?
I
3 minutes
will
to 7?
echo, yes, I was on the phone with Laura today, and I'm sure I've asked her the same question different ways many times, and she's always just so polite and so easy to work with and give you the information, and, yeah.
Ms. Mayor, I want to say one other thing regarding the COVID. I mentioned it earlier, but when we start talking, hopefully we can bring back the respect for one another, but also for science. Somehow we've gotten to the point now where, through evolution, the science has been very important, and we've looked to people that know something more than what I know. But I think it's real important that we, as a community, we start understanding that, hey, science is there for a reason. It's been, if you want to just listen to me, you're a doggone fool. You know what I'm saying? My stuff should be backed up by science, with some research. And I think it's real important that we go back to basics and understand that there is a value to science and value to experts. Thank you.
Bob, I will always listen to you.
I love you.
I don't know.
But he'll always listen.
Okay, Bob, I was really thinking you were going to tell me you would like to adjourn this meeting.
Oh, yes, I would.
I second it.
For Chuck, we did. We're out here before 7. Thank you,
Okay.
Chuck.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn this meeting. Everybody go home.
Approved.
Oh, yes, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed?
No.
Everybody go home.